another day. And if you still hate it after that day, you give it another day. And you keep going like that forever. That's what working is.
Do you even have a resume?
No, but I have a report card that'll knock your socks off.
I'm promoting you to manager.
Oh, Mr. Strickland, I love you.
Hi, Lindy.
Hi, Marissa.
Welcome, everyone, to the RIVERHAWK Hired Podcast. Today, we are closing out our experiential learning mini-series. We have so far talked about informational interviews, job shadowing, and internships. So we've given you lots of information, but sometimes we don't know how to find that internship. So we need to turn to networking, which is what we're going to be talking about today in an effort to make sure that you know how to get those connections in order to land that internship. Because sometimes it could feel a little bit harder to find an internship. It's harder than finding a normal job.
Right.
I'd say.
Yeah. And sometimes it's all about who you know.
Yes. So that's why you got to take advantage of your network. And when we say take advantage, we don't mean like, I don't know, make them write you 1,000,000 reference letters or something. But make sure that you're, shooting your shot, asking questions.
Yeah,
and
don't be afraid to reach out.
Yeah. So first, what do we want to...
Well, so the article that Jeremy provided had a really good definition of networking. Networking is making friends in your professional life. And I love that because that's exactly what it is. And that's a really cool way of putting it because it's all about building that circle of support. And I just think that is just kind of a fun way and a less scary way of thinking of networking. Because you're just trying to make friends, right?
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be this close friendship.
No.
Crazy. It means connecting with, people who share your ideas, that you can share advice with, those job opportunities, building that circle, like Lindy said, just so you can learn what the job openings and advice that they've got, and just see what avenues are available to you for potential employers or internships.
Yeah. There's lots of things that you can do to build your network. A big thing that you can do is, especially depending on what your industry is, find people in your industry that you admire, right?
Follow them on LinkedIn.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you reach out, when you start networking, just some things to keep in mind, make sure that you're being friendly, right? Make sure that you're staying positive. One of the things that it noted was small conversations lead to big opportunities. And that is very, very true. I actually have a really cool story about networking. And it's why you should attend the career fair. So there was a student who came to the career fair. This was, I want to say this was maybe last year or maybe a couple spring semesters ago. But there was a kid who really needed an internship in this specific field. And he was talking to a recruiter that was not from this same industry, just completely different industry. But for some reason, he went and talked to this recruiter. And after he talked to him, the recruiter was like, we are looking for somebody to do that. I think it was marketing or social media or something like that. And he was like, we are looking for somebody like that. Let me call my boss really quick. The recruiter called his boss and they created an internship for this guy.
Period. Networking.
Created an internship on the spot for this guy just because he went to the career fair and talked to people.
That's a great example of networking. It doesn't have to be this crazy long process of building this network. Sometimes it's just as simple as shooting your shot, saying hello. I love that story.
Yeah, he brought his resume, so they were able to look at his resume, and he had a great resume. So, so
he walked out with that internship.
Yep, he did. He absolutely did. And I just thought that's just it's one of the, we get some cool fair stories, and that's one of those ones that I like to tell because it's such a unique thing, but it does happen. It can happen. And it was all just about that conversation, and listening, learning, right? That ask questions, show your interest in things.
Yes.
And also get those business cards.
Yes. because it's important to make sure that you can still be in contact with this person so you can still continue to build that relationship, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not as quick as walking into a career fair and walking out with an internship. Sometimes you do have to put that work into, like, okay, I want to make sure that I am talking to this person at least once a month or something like that. And it could be as simple as, you know, saying like, hey, I really admired the article that you published a couple weeks ago. I'd like to pick your brain on it. Or ask a single question in their comment section on that article. Something. Finding that connection with those important contacts through networking helps you find mentors, colleagues, industry opportunities, and it can also help you help provide to you those insights and those opportunities because you already kind of got your foot in the door. And I know that we all have those people in our lives who are like side characters, right? Where it's like, oh yeah, I had a class with them once upon a time, and oh my gosh, they were like the best partner I've ever had in class before. Haven't talked to them since that class. Hope they're doing well. That's a part of my network, right? And so if I ever need somebody for what that person was really good at in that class, I might be more inclined to, you know, reach out to them or, you know, answer their DM whenever they, you know, are sending me a message asking like, hey, I was just wondering if there's any openings in your company, your industry, all those kinds of things.
Yeah. Well, and like when you get those business cards, like let's say you're at a networking event, you're collecting business cards. One thing I recommend doing is whatever you guys have a conversation about, write that down on the back of their business card. So that way, when you follow up, which is what you should do, you can say, hey, remember when we talked about this? Hey, I'm so-and-so. We talked about this at the networking event. It was so nice to meet you.
Especially because that person's meeting so many people that day. So having that reference point is really nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Utilizing LinkedIn. By the way, we help with that. So we have an appointment called Professional Online Presence. So if you aren't really sure how to navigate LinkedIn or the benefits of that or how to build a profile, we can help you with that. And LinkedIn is a really great place for networking because there's groups and you can join up to 100 groups on LinkedIn, and those groups can be specialized like to your industry. So you can network with people across the world, right? Just by talking to them on LinkedIn in these little groups.
And I also feel like LinkedIn is a really good networking tool also for us who might be easily distracted or may not be able to have the time to, you know, sit down and have this full email conversation with my colleague.
Absolutely.
It's kind of like Facebook. You can just scroll through and kind of see, oh my gosh, they got promoted. Congratulations.
I like this.
So I highly suggest LinkedIn. We're here to help. And you always want to make sure that you're putting your best foot forward whenever you're networking. So that's why we offer that professional online presence option. So that way you're not shooting your shot to these CEOs or managers, directors, whatever, with no profile picture, no bio.
Yeah, that's sketchy.
That's sketchy to that employer. So you're less likely to get, you know, that back and forth communication with them. So we're here to help with that kind of stuff. But when it comes to your network, it's not just like LinkedIn or career fairs. Like we said earlier, friends, family. Imagine you're searching for a job and a friend mentions an opening at their company. That's networking, right? And then you say, oh, I would love to learn more about this. You want to talk about it more later? Or like, hey, will you send me that job posting when you get a chance? So people that can give you the inside scoop.
Yes, absolutely. And when it comes to your network, it's important, like, not just to follow up, but to keep in touch with people, right? Regular check-ins, make sure that you're remembering details, and don't forget to offer your assistance too, right? Networking has to be a little bit of give and take. So you want to make sure that you're contributing your fair share as well. So share your knowledge, add that value to that like connection, and introduce people, right? If you have somebody in your network that you feel would work like well with somebody, or maybe has a job opening and you had a friend that told you, hey, I'm looking for a position in this specific field, can you help me with this? Connect them, right? Because that's just going to make you look like a wonderful person because you're helping other people with their opportunities as well.
100%.
And don't be afraid to listen and ask questions. Always ask questions.
Yes, be a question person. As a fellow question person myself, sometimes it feels like you might be asking too many questions. But when it comes to networking, when it comes to internships, job shadowing, informational interviews, that's how you're going to get, that information is by asking. And that's the best way to absorb it is to ask, because it helps. I don't know. It helps you also understand the framing of how that conversation might go, how you can handle that whenever people get to come to you someday to ask those kinds of questions.
Yeah,
so,
I love that.
Don't forget that sharing your knowledge. I'm sorry. You can pick back up with some.
One thing to keep in mind is like, if you're nervous when it comes to networking events, I think a lot of people don't want to network because it's scary, or it can be scary, but everyone's nervous, right? Everyone's nervous. Everyone that's going into this. Like when you go to our career fair, our recruiters know that you're probably going to be a little nervous. They're used to talking to college students
and nervous people.
Yes. And so don't miss an opportunity just because of this one temporary feeling, right? Because once you get in the groove of that, once you start talking to people, then you're like, let me talk to these other people, right? And you can get free stuff, right? Especially at a career fair, you can get lots of free stuff. So don't be afraid to take that jump, take that leap, right? Because again, it can lead to some really great opportunities, right? Good things come when we take risks, and so that's just something to keep in the back of your mind, and also understand that like not everybody you meet is going to be a contact, and that's okay.
That is completely okay. That's not failure. That's just
it's just practice, right? And if you don't know where to start, use icebreakers, right? Just ask some simple questions and go from there.
What's your favorite thing about your job? When you get free times on the weekends, as if we get that right, ha 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 ha, and have that joke with those people. Like, make it light. It doesn't have to be like how many percentages did you yield last quarter.
No.
don't make it those kinds of questions, because you're trying to build up your confidence. You're trying to expand your knowledge, but not in like a pretentious way. So be chill, be yourself, and be engaging. Right? Don't ask those like, do you like this job? Yes or no. Ask those open-ended questions. And also, if you're nervous, from a person who gets nervous when they go networking, I like to ask people about situational things, so that they can tell me a story and I can listen. And then they like me because they got to like rant to me for 5 minutes, and I was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much, let's exchange information. So ask them about a situation, like, tell me about the craziest year you had in this position, something like that. Those open-ended questions are definitely your friend.
And if you are going to a networking event, I highly recommend preparing an elevator pitch. I think we've probably talked about elevator pitches a time or two on this podcast. And it is a really great way for you to kind of initiate that conversation. It's just a brief, like 30 to 60 second kind of introduction. You talk about who you are, maybe what's your major, what are your goals, what are your interests, and then end that elevator pitch with a question, right? And so if you're needing help with building an elevator pitch, of course we can help you with that. In our office, we have some handouts that we can help guide you on, or you can just schedule an appointment and say, hey, can I give you my elevator pitch? And you tell me, what that looks like. So absolutely prepare those types of things. And also something else that we offer in our office is free business card printing. So not only do you want to get business cards, get some business cards for yourself, right, that you can give out to people. We print those for free. You can request those on our website. Now, they're a generic template. We can't like customize it and, you know, make it all like cutesy and pretty.
But you will look professional.
You absolutely will look professional. Yeah. So if you are needing some business cards for a fair, we absolutely can print those for you as well.
Period.
So, yeah.
And if you need any kind of practice when it comes to ice breaking, come to our etiquette dinner.
Yes, please. Mocktails and mingle.
Yes.
It's literally designed to help you practice that networking.
Yes. It is so incredibly helpful, especially because you can guarantee that every person in attendance is there to learn too.
Yes.
So
yes, absolutely.
You don't have to feel as nervous because the stakes aren't as big, right?
No, it's judgment free. It's just practice.
Yes. And you'll most likely have a host at the table with you who will be able to help you. And I guess you'll just have to come to the etiquette dinner to learn the rest.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the person who leads it is pretty freaking sweet.
She's pretty freaking impressive. What are we? It's Lindy.
This is cringe. I hate
cringe.
this.
But Lindy does a fantastic job teaching us about etiquette, why we use what fork, why we cut our food a certain way, why we don't order drinks and stuff like that. But
we talk about conversation topics too.
Yes. We give you guys a little pamphlet that has some conversation starters. And you get to take it home with you. Keep it forever. Take a picture, whatever you need to do with it. So feel free to go to higherNSUgrads.com if you want to know more about our upcoming etiquette dinner.
Yeah,
we have one every semester. So,
yep. In Broken Arrow and Tahlequah.
Yes. Well, thank you guys for joining us for the finale. The finale of our experiential learning series.
Yes.
So when it comes to networking, get your practice in and shoot your shot, dude.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Thank you guys for joining us, and we hope that you have a fantastic weekend. Goodbye. Bye.
Tell us what your greatest strength is.
My greatest strength, I guess, would be strength.
Is that woman your wife?
Don't be asking me personal questions.
I can't give you this position.
What? I crushed the interview.